Good morning, friends. If it's morning, well, good afternoon for those of you who it's afternoon. Good evening if it's good evening to you. Today in Stretch Chi class, we're going to work on our low lunge. Today, we're going to see if we can get a little bit of flexibility in our hip flexors. There's a little bit of work through our shoulders too that we'll also work on. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are all doing well today. It's a little warm in here. I turned off my air conditioner last night in a moment of stupidity, and it's hot. So I'm going to try to get through an hour class today, but this portion of my home doesn't get the air, so it's pretty warm in here. So we'll see how I do. I also have great news. Great news. I am in the process of adopting a new kitten, and I just have to show you guys this little guy. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Look, can you see him? His name's Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat, and he will be joining us on Friday morning when I finally have him, assuming that all is well with the adoption process, which I think it will. Then we will have kittens in stretching class. What? It's like the greatest day of my life. So, get excited, okay? We also have Suri here today, so she's wonderful as well, and she, I'm sure, will help us with our low lunges today. She seems to be awake and alert, but also too hot. It's too hot in here. You know, it's the wonderful thing about living in an old Chicago apartment. There's no central air, so you kind of have to keep on top of stuff, and I did not. So off we go. Just a quick little reminder for those of you who are returning here. Make sure that you let me know in the chat who's here. If you are watching this on your television, I recommend also logging in on your telephone so that you can make use of the chat during class, because on your TV, obviously you can't chat. On your phone, you can, so you can have it beside you, and that way you can check in with me if anything's going on with your body. And the way the class works, this is a live class, which means that those of you who are watching live are able to interact with me during class. When you do send me a chat, there's a little bit of a delay. It's a couple, maybe a 30-second delay at the most, which means that when you send your text or your chat, I'm not going to get it immediately, but I'll get it soon enough. So if anything is bothering you, if there's any stretch that's not quite working right, if you put that in the chat, then we can actually problem solve it in class while you're here. That's why I do class live. It's kind of awesome. And I don't think we have had a huge class. I think the most I've had in here is like 10 people live. So don't feel bad about shouting out. Like there's plenty of time and plenty of space for everybody to get what they need in this realm. Now, of course, if I get super popular, then that's going to be a problem. But for now, let's take care of you guys, okay? So let me know in the chat if there's anything specific you want to work on. I'm going to start off, and we're going to kind of run class with getting a little bit of that low lunge opened up in our hip flexors, like I said before, and we'll go from there. If anyone is new to class today, be gentle with yourself, of course. There are 3 rules to follow when you do resistance stretching. The first rule is that you move all the time, so you're not going to hold any stretches. Think of it like how you pull a rubber band and like you go to the extreme and then you bring it back in and you kind of go back and forth. There's a back and forth motion, and that's very, very important. The second rule is that you resist all the time. Now, when you pull that elastic band and bring it back in, there's energy within that band, right? So you want to make sure that your muscles also have energy in them when you're stretching them, that you have that tension. That's what creates the chemical reaction that stretches your muscles from the inner deep part of the muscle instead of just on the outsides. So make sure that you're resisting. This is super important, and I will help you figure that out through class. The last rule, and this is where the chat comes into play, if anything hurts, if anything doesn't feel good, stop doing it or work in a range of motion that does feel good to you. None of these stretches should feel bad, okay? None of them. But if they do feel bad in like certain points, you can work in a smaller range or just stop completely. Let me know in the chat if you have something that you want to problem solve through. And if you're not comfortable with the chat, just keep a notebook and write down what you feel, okay? You can also check in with me later or like write in the description box, like, hey, I'm having this issue, can we work on it in another class? I'm totally able to do that, okay? So just let me know. But if anything hurts, do not do it. It actually sets you back. It's like taking 7 steps backwards. If you continue doing a stretch, that hurts you, okay? So don't do anything that doesn't feel good. I can't stress it enough. It's a huge paradigm shift for a lot of people, big time. So I'll keep reminding you, don't you worry, I will tell you all the time. Also, if you are brand new to my channel, welcome for being here. Be sure to subscribe, click that little button in the corner that looks like a play button, or if you're on your TV, just scroll down until you find my channel and then just subscribe there. If you hit the bell icon after you subscribe, then it'll give you notifications to tell you that you have, whenever I have a new video up or if I'm going live, it'll let you know so that you don't miss class, okay? All of these live classes are also pre-recorded, so you can always go back and watch them later, or if you find that there's a class that you really like, not pre-recorded, they are recorded and they stay online. So you can go back and look at them later if you want, or check out some of the other classes, okay? I think that's it. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Oh, yes. If this class is too tough for you, like if you just can't wrap your brain around it, check out some of my other videos. I have a playlist that's called Stretch by Stretch, and you can go through and just learn each stretch individually. That's really helpful. All of those stretches also link into problem-solving videos. So if you're doing one stretch and it's not working, then it'll lead you into another video that will help you to unlock that stretch. So it's actually a really good way to do it if you want a little bit more control, or if you want to slow it down a bit, you're having trouble keeping up with class, it's a good option, okay? All right, enough talk, let's get started. So we're gonna start off just checking out our low lunge and see what happens. So bring your right leg into the front of a lunge here, your left leg behind, and here you should feel like you're kind of in a neutral place, okay? So not feeling like you're in a stretch or out of a stretch, just kind of like in the lunge. Make sure that you feel okay. So if you need to put something under your knee, go for it. If your mat's not thick enough, double it up. Do something to make sure that you feel okay. Then we're going to go into our lunge. So into a low lunge, you're going to go ahead and bend your front knee so that you come deep into this lunge. And we're not warmed up, right? So don't go too deep into the lunge. Just kind of see what your body will do naturally, even when you haven't warmed up. What do you got there? Do you feel a stretch here? Do you feel anything in your hamstrings? Do you feel pinch in this side? Do you feel any other issues? Like, do you feel unstable? Does your knee hurt? Do you feel the outside of your hip? Like, what do you feel? What's happening? Do you feel like you can go into this lunge easily, or do your knees bug you? What's happening, right? Like, really pay attention. And if you want to, take notes. If you want to put it in the chat, put it in the chat too, okay? It's whatever feels best to you. And then also in this low lunge pose is to bring your arms straight up over your head. So when you do that, what does that change? What does that feel like? Do you feel something in your shoulders? Do you feel deeper stretch in your hip? Do you feel deeper pinch in the front? What do you got? What does that feel like for you? And then I want you to just come right out of it, and we're going to test the other side too. Just kind of get a feel for where we're at, see what happens. So you'll have your left leg behind your right leg in the front. And again, find your neutral. Make sure you feel safe in this position. If you need more mat, get more mat. If you need to put a towel under your knee, do it. See what feels the best to you, okay? Now from here, we're gonna just test out what our lunge feels like. So don't go deep into a lunge. We're not trying to gain flexibility here. We're just trying to get information. So go ahead into this lunge. See where your body says that's enough, to where your body says stop. And notice what this side feels like. I feel like pretty deep, something going on here. I don't know what that's about, but wow, I got something to work on this side. This one doesn't feel as flexible to me. It's okay, because we're not warmed up, we're just getting information. So how does this feel different from the other side? What does it feel like to you? And then as we go into the stretch, you can come out and go into it, see how that feels to you. Does it feel safe? Does it feel unstable? Do you feel like you're gonna fall over? What's happening? And then you can bring your arms up over your head if you want and see what that feels like. Do you feel deeper? Do you feel pinch on the other side? Do you feel your hamstrings here? Your calf cramp? How do your feet feel on the floor? Do you feel unstable? Do you feel shoulder pain? Do you feel something in the back of your shoulders? Do you feel the top of your shoulders? What do you feel? Right? See what's going on in your own body. And then write it down either in a notebook, grab a piece of paper, or write it in the chat, because the more I know, the better I can serve you guys during class. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and just adjust the camera because I noticed that it's a little low. I'll put it right about there. That should be a little, sorry about that movement. And we'll get right into it. All right. Now let's go ahead and start off with our hamstrings. Yes. Yes, with our hamstrings. Now, if you need a towel or a strap, feel free to grab one right now. Actually, I'm going to get one right here off of Jeff. This is Jeff. He's my skeleton friend. He's keeping me company during quarantine. So grab a rope, a strap, a towel, whatever you need, and wrap it around your foot. Make sure that you have a good hold on that strap. And then bring your knee in close to your body. Now, notice I'm going to pull my arms up over my head. Look at the position my arms are in. My arms are trying to pull up, like I'm trying to reach my hands all the way over my head. The mistake people make in this stretch is that they pull their elbows down towards the floor, and they think that that resistance is going to engage this hamstring, but it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It actually fights the push up and the pull down. But what I want you to fight is this direction. That's where our resistance is. So I'm going to pull my arms over my head, find the range of motion where there's not really a stretch here. My legs just kind of hang out in neutral. Then I'm going to kick down. And as I kick down, my arms are fighting just enough that there's some activation in the hamstring muscle. Keep that hamstring activated. So try to keep your heel kicking down towards your glutes, and you'll pull up. Now notice I'm pulling my arms up over my head. My elbows are kind of locked. They're not locked like this, but like they're not bending. My shoulders are moving. And then I kick back down. Keep that resistance and pull up over your head. Find this stretch in the back of your hamstring. So it should be right here, right in the back of your thigh, okay? Central hamstring right down the middle of the leg. If you feel anything different, let me know in the chat, okay? It could be that you feel a pinch in the front here. It could be that you only feel your calves. It could be that you only, you don't feel anything at all. Or like you can't figure out how to resist. Those kind of things could all be issues. So kick down for strength and up for stretch. We do about 10 repetitions of every stretch. But I can't stress this enough. You guys do what feels good to your body, okay? You are the ultimate authority on what happens in your world. No matter what, you are the ultimate authority. So if you are feeling uncomfortable in the stretch, then don't do it. Move in a smaller range, or do less resistance, maybe less repetitions, right? You do as many as you want. I actually don't even count, because to me, I just stretch until I feel like I've gotten what I want out of it. And then I switch sides, okay? Okay, so here I'm gonna switch sides. So I put the rope now around my left foot. I've got it around my hands. I've got a good hold on the rope. So I'm not just holding it like this, but I'm like, I got this rope, okay? I'm gonna bring my knee in close to my body. I'm gonna try to lift my hands over my head and at the same time kick my heel down. My leg is gonna win, so it's giving about like 51% effort. Then my arms are gonna win, they're gonna shift, and now they're gonna give the 51% effort, while my hamstring has like 49% effort. And you just go back and forth. So one part wins. Right now my arms are winning. My leg is still fighting. And then on the way down, my leg wins, but my arms are still fighting. There's a resistance between both, okay? It's important. When this stretch is effective, you will feel a good, warm tug through the entire belly of the muscle. It should feel productive. It should feel healthy. It should feel like fluid. If it feels stuck, if it feels uncomfortable, if it feels painful, of course, just don't do it, or let me know, okay? I'm here for you guys. I am here for you, my friends. And so soon, 2 days, you guys, 2 days, little Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat, will be here with us. I can't wait. I have a new kitten. Oh my gosh. Oh, good hamstring stretches. Good hamstrings. And there we go. Okay, so now get rid of your rope. Let's go into a stretch for our glutes. Now, we haven't done our side glutes in a while. This one is a lot of strength training, but also really good stretch for your glutes. It's going to feel more like a burn than anything else, but that's okay. It's good for you. So you lay on your side. I like to hold my head up, mainly so that I can see you guys. You don't have to. You can let your head down if you want. You can even put a pillow under your head if you feel like it. Make yourself comfy. Bend your hips so that it looks like you're sitting in a chair. So your hips are 90 degrees from your torso. Your knees are also 90 degrees. So your shins will actually be parallel to your body. You're in like a chair position. So if you're looking at me from the ceiling, like you're looking down on me, my legs are like this. A lot of times I see people in class, their legs kind of in this like clamshell position. It's not like that. You want to be in like you're sitting in a chair, okay? Now from here, we have to have resistance. So put your hand on top of your knee. And my top hand here, this is my right arm, my right leg. My right arm is going to push down into my knee, so it's like driving my leg down towards the floor. And then my leg will push up, but this is strength training. My arm is slowing it down, not a ton, just enough. And then you use your arm to push you down. So now my arm is doing the motion, my leg is still fighting, and you'll start to feel some warmth in your glutes. On the way up, the glute is shortening. The glutes, the muscles in your butt, right? And then when you push down, it's stretching. So you should feel a nice, deep, warm stretch right through the outside of your glutes here, okay? If you feel the other side, like the side on the floor, then it means that side needs to stretch first. So just flip over and do the other side. If you feel anything on your inner thighs, don't do it, okay? Skip it. If you feel the front of your hip like right here, then also you can skip the stretch. Go to the other side, flip it over, and then let me know in the chat. Write it down in your notebook, okay? So we go up for strength and down for stretch. Finding that stretch on the outside of your hip, right? Getting a nice amount of strength training. Whew. And stretch. It's good. It burns, right? Ah, this is the stretch I fixed when I forgot to turn on the air conditioner. It's hot in here. Okay, let's switch sides. Okay, so you can just flip over if you want, or completely switch sides, but you want to make sure that you look like you're sitting in a chair. So bend your hips so that your hips here are at 90 degrees from your torso. Let your shins come forward so that they're either at the front of your mat or even on the floor in front of you, so that your shins are parallel to your torso. Again, it's going to look like you're sitting in a chair with everything kind of in a square position. Lots of 90-degree angles in this one. Put your hand on top of your knee, so now it's my left hand and my left knee, and I'm just going to push up towards the ceiling for strength and down for stretch. The amount of resistance that you use is up to you, but I would say you don't need a lot. You don't, right? The weight of your leg itself is enough resistance sometimes, right? But adding a little bit with my hands, like I'm just taking my fingertips and kind of pushing into it. And then on the way down, there's effort, but it's not like I'm struggling. Notice I can still talk to you guys, right? I can still breathe pretty well. I feel the burn, but it's not stopping me from like really just enjoying the moment. I can feel the stretch. I can enjoy the stretch, right? It's not terribly intense, although it is burning. I feel it working. But you may notice, like, if you listen to your body and you feel like it's super intense, then maybe take it down a notch, okay? This is stretching, this is recovery. It does not have to be super intense. Of course, if you want to make it crazy intense, you can. If you really want to make this a huge strength training exercise, go for it, because, why not? I have clients who say that this is harder than their regular workout. I'm going to admit that can be true, right? But it's up to you. It's up to you how much you want to do. And just keep in mind that like we've got an hour of this, right? So like if you are already feeling tired, then you probably want to pull it down a notch, all right? Now let's go on to our inner thighs. I'm going to do our side lunge stretch. I haven't done this one in a while either. Let's do left legs first. I'm in a mirror, so this is technically my right leg, so if you're getting confused, just let it go, okay? So left leg out to the side, your right leg bent. You're going to grab your wrist. It doesn't matter which one. Just take your dominant hand and grab your wrist and bring your arms over your head. Now try to pull your arms apart so you'll activate your lats, so your side body here. But you're also going to try to activate your inner thigh by pushing your foot into the ground. And notice how my foot's angled. My feet are pointing forward, or my toes. My toes are pointing forward. I'm on my inner sole here so that my foot is actually, like the sole of my foot is off the ground. That puts my ankle in alignment with my knee and my hip, okay? I don't want to go down like this because that's going to change the stretch. So I've got my legs all set up. Uh-oh, I'm getting a cramp now. So I've moved around too much. Okay, bring your arms over your head. You're going to try to pull them apart. But from here, push that leg down into the ground. You're going to pull over to the right first, and then keep pushing your leg into the ground. Keep resisting with your arms and pull to the left. You're going to pull right over that left leg. You should feel kind of a combination of this side of your body coming across to the other leg. So it's the outside of your right body, the inside of your left inner thigh. And you just go back and forth. So to the right for strength and over your left leg for stretch. Oh, as much as you want to go and in the way that feels good to you. Now again, find the best thing for you. So if you need to put some extra padding under your knee, that's okay. If this is too hard for you, if you're like, I just can't get on my knees, you could do this standing up. So you can just open your legs wide like this and go back and forth like that. That would be totally fine if this one doesn't feel good to you, okay? And if it really doesn't feel good, or if you feel a lot of cramping here, just skip the stretch completely. Write it down, let me know in the chat, okay? Open for strength, and over your left leg for your stretch. Whew. It's like hot yoga in here. It's so hot. It's funny, it's not even that hot outside. I should just open the windows. That would be smart. Okay, let's go ahead and switch sides now. So you're going to come down onto your left knee. Bring your right leg out to the side. Let your toes point forward and let your foot turn so that you're on your inner sole and the outside of your foot has rotated up so that the sole of your foot is actually off the ground. That way your foot's in line with your knee and your hip, okay? Grab your wrist with any hand, whatever you feel like, bring it over your head. You're going to resist by pushing your leg down into the ground and then try to pull your arms apart at the same time. So pull over your left side this time, that's strength training. Pull over the right, this is your stretch. Now when I say strength training, what I mean is that if I push my leg into the ground, it kind of like propels my body the other way. I'm also using my arms to pull. So right now my left arm is winning and my right leg is winning. As I come over, my right arm wins and my left leg is fighting my left arm. Sorry, my right leg is fighting, my left arm is fighting. Does that make sense? It's a little tricky. A little tricky. Just make sure there's resistance. Make sure you're pulling your arms apart. Make sure you're always moving, and make sure you only stay in the range that feels good to you. Okay? Okay? Oh, this side is so good. I don't know what I did. So like all through here. Super sore. I wouldn't say sore. It feels like the stretch is like productive. It is happy to be doing this stretch. Oh, so good. Oh, I love it. Let's do one more. Okay. Whew. It's the good stuff. That is the good stuff. All right. Bring your right leg to the front, your left leg behind. And we're going to go into a lunge again, but we're going to do this in a couple different ways because I want to access different parts of your psoas muscle. The psoas is your hip flexor. It connects to your, oh, I've got Jeff. Haha, Jeff is here. It connects right here at the top of your femur, comes through your pelvis and hooks into your spine on the side here. And it does that on both sides. So they work together. There's also a part of your psoas muscle that hooks into the bottom of your pelvis and comes through. So we have two different parts that we want to stretch. And we're going to stretch those two different parts by accessing our pelvis in a little bit of a different way. So before we get started with this, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about anterior and posterior tilt of the pelvis so that you can understand how this works. So quick, stand up. And just like you can have your legs just kind of a little bit apart, like this. And we're going to do anterior and posterior tilts. So an anterior tilt looks like this. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. Anterior tilt means that you're going to take your pelvis, which is like this guy here. It's like a bowl, okay? And we're going to tilt that bowl forward. So the back of your pelvis is going to come like up and over. The front of your pelvis is going to go down and under. So an anterior tilt looks like this. So it's like you're sticking your butt out, you're letting your belly hang out, the front comes forward. Posterior tilt is the other way. So I'm going to take the top of my pelvis here and bring it down and under. I'm going to take the top of my pelvis here and bring it up and over. So it's going to go this way. You can think of your pubic bone coming forward, the tailbone going under in this position. Now we're going to switch it again. So anterior tilt. So you're going to curve forward. It's like a bowl tipping over. Posterior tilt goes the other direction. Okay? You might even want to put your hands here and think of it like, okay, I'm pouring the bowl forward and then I'm pulling back. It's like if you were making a cake, right? You take the cake batter and you tip it into the pan, right? And then you change it back the other way. So stop pouring the batter, bring it back again, okay? So we have anterior tilt, that's tilting to the front. Anterior means the front. Posterior tilt, we're tipping to the back, okay? Now there, even in that motion, we're getting a little bit of stretch in those two different directions. But now we're gonna add a change because we're gonna keep your legs in a lunge position, okay? So what I wanna start with is our posterior tilt. So posterior means you're gonna take that cake, the bowl of cake batter, and you're gonna stop pouring it. So you're gonna lift it back up, your tailbone will come under a little, the top of your pelvis goes back, the front here is coming up. It's like coming up this way. And then what I want you to do here is hold that posterior tilt. It's going to be some core strength here. Then try to pull both legs in. Okay, so your front leg is pulling back this way. Your back leg is trying to pull forward this way. All the time with that posterior tilt. Okay, if you cannot figure out what I mean by posterior tilt, it's okay. You can't figure that out. Just think of trying to scissor your legs together. Okay? You can find that posterior tilt, then hold it there, pull this front leg, pull with it to bring you forward. Keep your pelvis in a posterior tilt. You are not going to go into a low lunge because that's not how this muscle works. This is as deep as I go into the stretch. Then I'm going to use my back leg to pull me back. So I'm actually contracting here. My knee is trying to pop forward. And as I come back, I'm going to let myself go into an anterior tilt. So I'm going to go ahead and tip forward with my pelvis, letting my tailbone stick out a little bit. And then I'm going to reverse it. So I'm going to pull with my front leg. I'm going to, at the same time, posterior tilt. Let my front leg win to pull me into this lunge. It's subtle and it's small. Okay. Then I'm going to use my back leg to pull me back. I'm going to anterior tilt. So I'm going to go ahead and bend. I'm going to stick my tailbone out. The top of my pelvis is coming down. My belly's sticking out. Then I'm going to go the other way. And as I go, I'm going to posterior tilt, turn the bowl backwards. The top of your pelvis comes up here. The tailbone kind of tucks under a little. You have this lift here. You're going to feel the stretch right through the left hip flexor. Anterior tilt on the way back. Posterior tilt on the way forward. It's such a small movement. It is so effective. Okay, so move in the way that feels the best to you. If you can't find these tilts, it's okay to just go back and forth. All right. So now we're going to reverse it. This is a little tricky. So we're going to go from a posterior tilt to an anterior tilt. So here I'm starting off with a posterior tilt. I'm going to allow the anterior tilt as I come forward. So I'm going to allow my belly to come forward. I'm going to allow my pelvis to drop forward from the front. I'm going to allow my tailbone to stick out a little bit and go into a low lunge. Keep your legs active. You're trying to pull both legs together towards the inner part of your back. Okay? You should feel this a little different. Then you're going to pull back, posterior tilt. So now my pulling the cake batter back. Now you're going to pour the cake batter back into the bowl, so you kind of come forward as you come here. Your pelvis tilts. You're going to allow that tilt to happen. Keep your legs active. And then pull it back, posterior tilt. Okay. Find that anterior tilt. You're going to be able this time to go into the deep lunge. Remember before we couldn't go into a deep lunge because we had our pelvis tilted in a different way. Find both directions. Fascinating, isn't it? Isn't the body cool? I'm a nerd for this stuff. All right, now let's go ahead and switch sides. So we're going to go with the left leg behind, the right leg in the front. Again, we want to find this inner scissoring so we can get our resistance. So your front leg is going to try to kick back. Your back leg is trying to kick forward from your knee. So it's like your knee is trying to come forward to flex at the hip. The floor is in the way, so you're not going to be able to stop there. Then we're going to start off with anterior tilt. So let your tailbone come out. Let the top of your pelvis come forward. Try to squeeze both legs together using your front leg to pull you forward. And as you come forward, find your posterior tilt. So bring the top of your pelvis up, your pubic bone forward, your tailbone under, and find that stretch in the front of your left hip flexor. You won't go very far, that's okay. Use your leg to pull you back. Go ahead into that anterior tilt. If you can find it, use your front leg to pull you forward. Find your posterior tilt. You're tipping back. No kick batter gets out of this bowl. And then get that hip flexor stretch. And then as you come back again into our strength training portion, you're going to let that bowl tip forward. Whew. This is hard work. I'm out of breath. I feel like I just ran a 5K. And by I don't run. What I mean is I feel like I just ran to the other room. I just ran to the bus. Ugh. It's tough. It's tough to me. Okay. And so again, we're here in an anterior tilt, so you're pulling forward. As you come into this lunge, you posterior tilt, tip your tailbone under, bring the top of your pelvis up. Feel that stretch in your hip flexor. Okay, let's do one more just like this. Whew. Intense. So intense. All right. Okay, now we're going to shift it. So let's go ahead and start posterior tilt. You're going to use your front leg to pull you. And as you pull forward, let your tailbone come back, and you'll find your anterior tilt into that deep lunge. Then use your back leg to pull you back up. And as you come up, posterior tilt. That means tailbone under, pelvis up in the front. As you come down, let the top of your pelvis tip down. Let the bowl tip forward. Come into the deep lunge. Always active in your body and always moving, so you're never really holding at all. You just find what feels good to you, okay? And you just go back into the deep lunge and out of the deep lunge, okay? All right, and again, if you're having any problems, if anything feels funny, write it down in your notebook or write it down in the chat. Let me know what's going on with you guys, okay? Because I can help you through it. I'm here for you. All right. Whew. How you guys doing? Good, huh? I know, it's fun. Have a drink of water. We got through 4 stretches. I like to work in groups of 4. I'm kicking myself. I actually put the other air conditioner in the window today. I had 2, and I was like fighting putting the other one in because I just didn't want to do it. So I did this morning. So, hopefully by tomorrow it'll be like an ice box in here. I am so hopeful. All right, so what we also have going on in this stretch is raising your arms up over your head like this, right? So let's work a little bit on that. And I'm going to start this stretch in a position sort of like downward dog. But in resistance stretching, we do this a little bit different than you would do in yoga class, okay? So you might want to watch me first if you've never done this one before. If you have done it, feel free to go for it, okay? So what you're going to do is start on all 4s. Your hands under your shoulders, your toes tucked. Pretend like you are on the base of a pyramid of cheerleaders. There's like 7 layers of cheerleaders that are going to get on your back. So strengthen your spine. Not so much like cat pose, but almost, right? You want to have that feeling like someone's going to kneel right on your spine. Strengthen it up. Make sure you're strong enough there. From here, come up to straight legs. You don't have to have your heels on the floor, and you don't need to be in a plank position, okay? So here I am, my shoulders are over my wrists, I'm on my toes, but my heels are up. This is a neutral position. I don't feel any stretch right now. So find yourself in a neutral place where you feel no stretch. Then, push up on your toes as high as you can. Notice my body is not coming forward, but going up towards the ceiling. My spine is still strong, it's just like people are kneeling on my back. And I'm going to use my arms to push my heels down to the floor and to reach my head through. So I'm pulling my head towards my feet, pushing with my arms and having my heels come down as far as they feel comfortable going. Then I'm going to bring my head forward, my shoulders come over my wrists, but that's as far, and my feet up as tall as possible. Then you're just going to go back and forth. So up for strength. Notice I am not going into a plank position. This is not going into chaturanga. I am coming back and forth from my head between my arms here to that nice stretched out position in the front of my shoulders to this position where my shoulders are not going over my arms. My shoulders are not going past my wrist. Does that make sense? And then you just go back and forth. Up for strength here, pushing through for your stretch. Now you should feel this in your calves, of course. You might also feel something in the front of your chest and shoulders. If you feel it in the top of your shoulders, like by your neck, this is a no-go for you. Don't do this stretch. If this is hard on your wrists, don't do it. If you feel this in the back of your shoulder blades, don't do this stretch. Write those things down in your notebook so that you know that this is a case for you at some point. It will change as we do some problem solving. So write it down. You could also let me know in the chat what you feel so that I know to do some extra problem solving on this for you today. Okay? It's not selfish of you to do that, right? Because it will benefit everyone. People who have problems will get their problems fixed, hopefully. People who don't have problems will just gain more strength and flexibility. So it's actually beneficial for everyone to do some problem solving. Just let me know, okay? If you have any issues. All right. Water's so good. Like when it's a hot day and you've been outside like gardening and you have that first glass of cold water and it's just like the greatest thing. I'm telling you, so good. Okay, so now have a seat and whatever way feels the best to you, bring your hands together so that your fingers are interlocked and take your thumbs right over your head. So your thumbs are hovering right over the crown of your head. They're not going to move from that position. Let your elbows come open wide. If this is painful for you already, don't do it, okay? If it's not painful, find a neutral place where you feel like you can hold your arms here for a while if you had to. And then from here, we're going to pretend like we're squeezing a balloon between your arms. So pretend like there's a balloon here, and you're going to pop the balloon between your arms. So give it a shove. There's resistance there. You're kind of making up the resistance on your own. And then open up. It's like the balloon opens back up, but you don't really want it to, so you keep that resistance going. You don't have to close all the way, and you don't have to open all the way. Find the place that feels the best. What you should feel in this stretch is a little bit of tension, a little bit of tug through the back of your shoulders, right through here. Okay. If you feel it down in your back and through your torso, go ahead and stop doing this. And if you feel it in your chest, stop doing it. And just let me know. Okay, give me a shout in the chat, let me know what's going on with you, or write it down in your notebook. I like to sit on my knees. You guys can sit however you want. Whew. Open and close. Find the stretch in the back of your shoulders. Do as many as you want to do. If you notice you're getting really fatigued, you can stop. Just do as many as you want, right? Remember that your body wants to feel good. It wants to stretch. It wants to stretch in the right way. And so if it's giving you signals that say, I don't want to do this, there's a reason for it. And it's not because you're not doing enough of the stretch. It's like, everybody's like, oh, I need to do this. I really need it, so I'm going to do more of them. No, there's a reason why your body might not want to do a certain thing, and it's usually completely disconnected, right? Like you could not want to do this stretch because you're being pulled by your lats, and your arms can't be up in that position because your lats are trying to pull you back down. We're not focusing on your lats in this stretch. We're going to focus on it in a different stretch, okay? So it may mean that you're just doing the wrong thing. That's it. And we can do the other thing. We come back to this, the stretch will be fine, and it'll be productive, and it'll work, okay? So I'm telling you guys, problem solving is super cool. Just let me know, and I'll help you through it, okay? Now, let's do the top of our shoulders, our deltoids and our neck. Bring your right arm in close to your body. Your elbow will be bent at 90 degrees, and your upper arm here will be in line with your torso. So my arms are like this. It's like you're doing the locomotion dance, okay? So from here, take your left hand and reach over top and grab your wrist. Then you're going to resist if you're trying to pull both arms apart. So one arm is pulling towards the wall that way, the other one is lifting up this way towards that wall. Not forward, but straight out to the side. I'm going to give a little bit of resistance between my wrist and my hand to lift up that strength training, and I pull down for my stretch. So I'm pulling my arm down to bring it close to my body. And you just go up and down just like this. This is similar to that stretch we were doing for your glutes, right? It's up and down. And as you come down here, you're going to bring your head to the side this way, so to the left. So you come down here, take your left ear, and bring it towards your left shoulder. Keep looking straight ahead. You'll feel that stretch right here on the side of your neck. And you just go down. Sorry, I'm looking outside. There's a helicopter. These days when I see a helicopter, I'm like, what's going on? I'm in Chicago. For those of you who don't know, Chicago's been hit pretty hard by all this. Lots of protests, lots and lots of protests, but also a lot of looting, a lot of unrest in the city. So where is that? Don't hover over here. Find somewhere else. So up for strength, and then push down for your stretch. Your head to the side, the opposite side of the shoulder you're stretching. You could give a little nod to a little yes with your head, just a little, to see if you can feel that stretch in a little bit of a better way. Keep resisting between your wrist and your hand the whole time. So you want to always feel this feeling of pulling up and down. I'm going to stretch my neck out, my jaw. Sorry, I made that funny face in class. Sometimes when you're in this position, you're holding resistance, your body will say, like, why don't you try this thing? You might feel like you need to wiggle around or do something. That's called pandiculation. And it's basically your body trying to release tension on its own. It's like what happens when you wake up in the morning and you just kind of like move your body in a way that feels good, right? That's pandiculation. It's like almost like an involuntary response. It's something that your body does to remove tension naturally. And it happens when you add resistance. So you might feel like you want to do So as you bring your head over, it would be pandiculation to move your head a little. It would be panticulating to like wiggle your fingers if they feel like it. And your jaw is tight to move your jaw a little. It's okay. Nobody's watching you. You can make all the funny faces you want. Okay, I give you full permission. Now bring your left arm in. Let's do the other side. So my arm is coming in close to my body. My elbow is actually like against my hip here. Then I'm going to take my right hand and grab on top, over top, grab your wrist. You're going to resist by trying to push both arms straight out to the sides. There's no forward and back in this one, it's just straight out. Push up for strength. My elbow is pushing straight towards that wall. Then I'm going to push down. This is my stretch. My top arm is pushing me down. My bottom arm, my left arm is winning, or is trying to win. It's pushing up. Then I'm going to bring my ear to my right shoulder, my right ear to my right shoulder. And you just find that stretch in your neck here on the left side. See how that feels for you. So up for strength, down for stretch. Bring your right ear over to the right shoulder. Maybe a little head nod. Maybe a little jaw work if it feels good. Maybe wiggle your fingers a bit. See if you can find this tension and release it in a way that feels the best for you, okay? See what feels good. And remember, if this doesn't feel good, if you don't feel anything, if this is really hard on your neck, you can leave the neck out completely. You can move in smaller ranges of motion. If you can lift your arm up all the way or down, if you feel pain, move in a smaller range or just stop, okay? Don't do anything that hurts. Write it down in your notebook if you have any notes for this one. This is for your deltoid muscles. So make a note or write it in the chat and let me know. I'm here for you every day except Sunday, because everybody needs a break. All right, up and down, your head to the right. Find that stretch. So good. So good. Okay, now next I want to do some stretches for your fingers and forearms. We also haven't done these in a while, and I think they're so useful. So come onto your knees. Bring your hands in front of you so that your fingers are facing towards your knees. And let your palms come down to the floor. Now, if you cannot get your palms down all the way, then just keep your weight on your knees. Bring your fingers to the floor. And what you're going to do is just down as far as you can and up without bringing your palms all the way down. It's gentle, right? But the resistance is there because you're trying to keep yourself from falling forward. Okay, if this feels good to you and you can get your wrist to the floor, go for it. You probably just shift your weight forward. Then lean forward a little, and then just sit back a little. It's a small range. It's for the forearms here, right through the front of your arms. And again, your fingers pointing towards the floor. You want to try to push your fingers into the mat to get a little bit of extra resistance. Just push your fingers out like you're trying to flip your arms the other way. I always think of this as like the Monopoly stretch. I call it Monopoly because this is what I want to do every time I play Monopoly. I want to grab the board and I want to throw it across the room. That's how I play Monopoly because I'm always losing that game. Always. So pretend like you are I'm out of here, right? That's this stretch. The Monopoly stretch. I'm not bitter about it. Not at all. So my sister Trisha, she won every time. Every time. Okay, now let's get our fingers too. So take your right hand, pick it up. Grab your left index finger and then gently give it a tug. Then you can let it down. Grab your middle finger, gently lift it up. Keep your wrist on the ground if you can. If you're one of those people who are not getting your wrist to the floor, it's okay. Just skip these. It's not a big deal. You got enough to worry about, right? You can stay in the same, like just working from your fingertips down, okay? For the next stretch, don't just stretch your fourth finger by itself because it doesn't really work the same as the others. It shares a tendon. So grab your middle finger and your ring finger at the same time and pull. Nice and gentle. Don't go too far. Just do what your body wants to do. And then same thing with your pinky. Grab your fourth finger and your pinky at the same time and give those a tug. And then your pinky by itself would be gentle with it. It's a little one. It doesn't need as much work. Okay, so then let's go to our right hand. I like to go straight across like I'm reading. So I'm going to grab my pinky, nice little tug. Then I'm going to grab my pinky and my fourth finger at the same time and stretch both together. Then I'm going to grab my fourth finger and my middle finger and stretch both together. Then only my middle finger. Now notice this knuckle on my middle finger sticks up a little bit. So I'm going to put my thumb on that knuckle that sticks up, because that gives me a little deeper stretch. Nice. And then your two. I'm a pianist. This is finger two. Your index finger, number two. Piano players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you know. I know. So I always lift your fourth finger. People are like, what are you talking about? It's okay. You don't have to. All right. All right, my friends. Now, let's go into a stretch. Let's go back to our legs. Let's do our quads today. I want to go up against the wall to stretch our quads out so that we can get a really good fascia stretch in the front of our legs. This is going to help our low lunge also. You're going to want to take your mat and double it up a few times to put it up against the wall. Or a hand towel for me is perfect. It's just the right amount of, if I fold it up, it's the right amount of width. And put that up against the wall. Come onto all fours. Make sure that you're on your hands and knees, right? And you're going to take your right leg and bring it up so that your knee comes down on the towel or on your mat and your foot is flush, flat against the wall. You could also put a towel under your foot. Sometimes I have clients who use those armbands like the tennis players use for their sweatbands. Put those on your foot. Those work really well to give you a little extra padding on your foot. Or if this is really painful and you want to take that out of the equation completely, turn your foot under so that your toes are tucked. That's okay too. From here, you're going to bring your other leg around to the front and come up to a lunge. Now, if this is too intense for you, it means your knee's too close to the wall. So you just bring your knee further away. You could be like way out here. And that would be totally fine. And that'll take the tension out. But you want to start in a place that's neutral. So find where your neutral is. And then we'll work from there. Okay? So if this is neutral, fine. If it's closer to the wall, fine. Just find what's the best for you. You should be able to get knee, hips, and shoulders in a straight line. Okay? So find that place. If you can't find that place, then maybe you should sit this one out. Okay? Now push your foot against the wall. That's going to drive your body forward. Your front leg will slow you down. Then reverse the motion. So keep pushing your leg into the wall. Keep pushing with your front leg, but you're going to use your front leg to push you back towards the wall to get a stretch through your quad here. You just go back and forth. So forward is strength training for the quad. Stretch comes back. When you come forward, you're going to feel a hip flexor stretch too. That's okay. But we're really wanting to focus on this part when you get towards the wall to find the stretch in your quad. Forward for strength. So the quad is shortening here. You'll get a hip flexor stretch. That just happens. Front leg will push you back. If the stretch feels good, go ahead and posterior tilt your pelvis. So you're going to tuck the tailbone under. The top of the pelvis is going to come up and back. You feel a deeper stretch through the quad, okay? So into your strength training and back for your stretch, posterior tuck. Whew. Find a deeper stretch, right? It's nice. Does it feel nice? Suri is passed out. Suri the cat is passed out cold under the table. She's super cute right now. But that's why she's not visiting you guys, because she's hot too. She thinks it's too hot in here. She's got a whole fur coat on, you poor thing. Oh, this is a good stretch today. Just remember to keep resisting and keep moving. If the stretch feels bad, if you feel your knee, if you're cramping, Cramp is a normal thing in the stretch. If you feel that cramp though, it means we need to stretch your hamstrings first. So just skip it. We'll come back and visit this one again, okay? And you can write down in your notebook too. Write it down. If you have any problems, these are your quads we're stretching. So write down stretching quads, right side, and say, I had a cramp in my foot, or I had a cramp in my hamstring, or this felt bad in my knee, or whatever. Write a little note there, or let me know in the chat so we can problem solve through. When you're ready, bring your hands down to the floor. Bring your left leg down. And then you can come back to all fours. You may need to adjust your towel. Take your left leg up. Put your knee on the towel. Your foot flat against the wall if that feels good, or turn it under. Do whatever feels right to you. And then bring your right leg around to the front. You'll come up into a lunge, okay? Now from here, you're gonna push in opposite direction. So your front leg is gonna actually try to push forward. Your back leg is gonna push into the wall. And you go forward for strength and back for your stretch. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the clock, it's late. Okay, so we're not gonna revisit the stretch. It's almost noon already. How did that happen? It's because I'm moving slow today because it's so hot in here. This is like how people stretch in the South, right? All of you who are from Florida are like, no, we don't. Everything moves a little slower when it's hot. So forward for strength and back for your stretch. Finding that stretch through your quad. Add a little posterior tilt. That'll give you a deeper stretch to the quad. That means that you're going to take your tailbone under, tilt your pelvis back. The front of your pelvis is going to come up. So you feel that lift in the front, okay? It's more intense, right? Again, if it doesn't feel good, just skip it. Write in your notebook, write in the chat, let me know where you're at. Say, left quad, I feel a cramp. Left quad, I feel knee pain. Whatever, it's too intense, I can't get into the stretch. Or, I can't get all the way back. But it's okay, one day you will, right? So keep a notebook, write today's date in it. You'll see the changes happen. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. All right, and then when you're ready, bring your hands down. Make sure you feel good. Bring your right leg down, and then come out of the stretch. We're gonna come back to our mat. We're gonna try again for our low lunge and just see what kind of changes we were able to make. So your right leg in the front, your left leg behind. And we're gonna go right into this low lunge. Your body will tell you what it needs and when to stop. So go ahead and lean forward into the stretch. Feeling this nice low lunge. You can bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And once I'm in this pose, I'd like to pandiculate a bit. So you don't want your poses to ever be without movement or without resistance, right? So say you're doing yoga. This is a yoga pose, right? Say you're in yoga class. You're not really supposed to move in yoga. Like you get to your pose and you hang out there. So go into the stretch slowly so that you're resisting the movement into the stretch. Reach your arms up like you're reaching through webs. Open your hands into like jazz hands and see if you can manipulate the stretch by just moving your hands, by finding some really subtle movement in your hips, maybe reaching from one side to the other, maybe even pulling a little back. Find the way that the stretch feels the best to you. Explore it once you're in the stretch. You're allowed to manipulate it. You don't just hold a stretch for the sake of holding it. Make the stretch productive while you're in it. Now bring your left leg to the front, your right leg behind. And we're gonna slowly bring our body into this low lunge. Find the place that feels the best to you. Bring your hands over your head like you're pulling towards, like you're growing out of the dirt. Like a flower. And spread out your petals. Your leaves grow. And stretch and welcome themselves into the world, right? Roar. If I was a little plant, I would definitely growl. Roar. I am world, right? Take on the world, you guys. It's your life. It is your world. Okay, awesome. It's noon. It's time to stop. You guys are great. Thanks for being here today. If you do want to support the channel, the best thing you can do right now is give me a thumbs up for class. That's going to make sure that other people like you see this video. And I want more people like you because I like you guys. So click that button. Make sure that you leave a comment if you want. Tell your friends if you liked class, especially if you have just gotten exposed to resistance stretching. You want other people to know how cool it is. Let them know. Just click the share button. You can put it in your Facebook. Also, this channel is supported completely by donations. So if you feel the drive or the need to support this channel, just go down in the description box below. There's a link to my PayPal account. You can leave a contribution for class. This makes sure that not only is this channel open for free for everybody who needs it, but especially for those who cannot afford to do this kind of work or to go to a fitness class or yoga class on their own. I really want this to be something that's accessible to everyone who needs it. So if you feel like you want to contribute to that cause, it's right down in the link, okay? In the little box below. Remember, guys, classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 9 a.m. Central. Okay, so hope to see you guys there. And that's all I got. Enjoy your week, you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.